it is. I am delighted to welcome Reverend Sue MillerBorn. She has an incredible message this morning and is totally up to it.
Oh, thank you, Tara. She's in ministerial training, and they are so lucky to have her. You are so powerful. And so for the three that couldn't hold back the applause, do you want to do it right now for Nadine and Dick? It's so hard not to go, oh, wait. But I could just feel those people. Was it me? Made me smile, though, because the music was so beautiful. And it's fun. The la 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 la. I know those words, la la. When I know la la, I can just like, oh, I got this one. Watch me dance too. And then you ood. It's like we've had la la and ooh. It's just floating along in those powerful words of song that, you know, what did they do? They open us. They open us into that perfect place of joy where life on the planet is fun. And Tara and I were looking at the words and going, oh, wow, yeah, because at the 9 o'clock service, we talked about something very powerful that Sylvia Bornstein woke me up to in one of her writings, things I've heard a lifetime, but sometimes they hit harder. And she, on her journey, the most powerful words from her study of Buddhism, from the Buddha, is do not be afraid. And so as I share the talk with you today, I really invite you to look at your life, to look at where are you receptive to the divine, and do not be afraid to follow what you discover. The idea, the only thing you were afraid of was fear. The only thing you were afraid of was fear. That's one of the lines of the song. And so it's perfectly placed. Perfectly placed. Everything has such divine orchestration to bring and deliver a message to each one of you. And in this moment, in my calling, in my week's work of preparing for you, that work has been done, that, Lord, may I be receptive to the words, to the hearts, to the ones that show up this day, that have a stirring, a longing, a confusion perhaps, and they need an answer. May I be so privileged to be open and set apart from my yipes to just allow that message to be delivered absolutely from my heart into yours. That's what we show up here for, those moments of deep and absolute connection. And Tara's beautiful treatment and the music and the reading by Damien is all orchestrated, you see, to bring us together. And we come into practice together. Our community is an evolved community. When we arrive, we are already understanding that this is the beginning, and we sit in spiritual practice, and we sit as conduits, recognizing there is only one. Our path has led us right here into the seat that you sit upon. Isn't that beautiful to know that you've arrived? And in all of that perfection, in that divine orchestration of the one, we have arrived here together. And I'm going to share some words with you. A lot of them stem from Ernest Holmes' wisdom from the Science of Mind text that absolutely pinpoint how it is to be receptive to the divine. But I share with you this very beginning from Paul Ferrini. The truth, the path to the divine, the life of the witness runs through your heart. Okay, we begin there. so much attention to the mind and to understanding the privilege of all the different ways that we can read and understand scripture or philosophy. So we can distill that through our mind, but it must drop. It must drop right there at the altar of our heart so that we can distill it into a truth, and then we allow our words to speak from that truth, not from some words that we are trying to memorize. I got to get this right. I've got to get this right. No. Sit in your heart. Sit still long enough so that it percolates into a greater truth, and you are not afraid. You are not afraid. So when you leave here today, whatever starts to turn your attention to, oh, yes, I am. No, you are not afraid, because there is a path that you have chosen to walk upon that leads you to a truth, and you are here to establish a belief in that truth and then that knowing. So the truth, the path to the divine, the life of the witness runs through your heart. There is no way, not truth, no life, except through you. You are the way. You are the way. And I find that when I am compelled into that knowing, into that, and trusting in that truth, I'm able to sit with any dilemma, any confusion on my path, and I can sit with it long enough, and I can find others in my journey that will be willing to sit with me as sometimes I whine until I find my truth. And I have true friends that will sit with me long enough until I can leave in a place and hold everything with love. Ernest Holmes says, the realization that God is personal to all who are receptive. God is personal to all who are receptive. Okay, we're all receptive. This realization of God, there is this divine influx, enables one to communicate with Spirit, receiving a direct answer. Trust that when you allow yourself to open to the one, you will receive that divine influx. You will receive the absolute answer that you are calling into Spirit to know. This is what Jesus was so skilled. This is why he became such a master of masters. This is what every great philosopher was able to do. He was able to balance the personal and all the impersonal attributes of being. These are Ernest Holmes' words. And recognize that there's a natural force, a natural knowing, an intelligence, as Ernest Holmes continues to remind us of. We are bathed in an infinite intelligence. And when you recognize that, it's like, whoa, I am, me, bathed in an intelligence that knows. This force always working through us. The Science of Mind reading, God manifests himself through all individuals. And no two of us are alike. And so this intelligence is moving down through you, and it's a felt experience when you make that connection. I love this idea shared also by Paramahansa Yogananda. We are surrounded by ideas. So there, Yogananda's pointing to that same vast intelligence that every great philosopher and spiritual teacher and master points to. We are surrounded by ideas. Be receptive to discover anything that you want to know. Ask, and you shall receive. Ask. Ask for that divine guidance. Ask for it. And then reverently and deeply listen. And when you hear it, it will stir in your soul, and you will be propelled and compelled to act on it. Otherwise, it's just going to you can keep asking, and it will keep answering. And you will keep asking, and it will keep answering, and you will keep arguing. It's so interesting. I was listening to Marianne Williamson, and she is very devoted to what is that? The Course of Miracles. Thank you. And it's so true. Lord, I show me the way. Show me the way. And then the way is shown. Well, no, not that way. That's not what I meant. That's scary. And then so you open your eyes, and it's still the same discovery. And you're going, no. I want it to look like, and it's not going to be that way. When you open yourself to the divine speaks as it should be. And there's a powerful force in that. And so when you say, all right, yes, and then when you say that reverent, powerful yes, that force carries you. That's when you know you are divinely connected and inspired because you felt it in your heart. Amen. And the mind doesn't kind of twirl on it and try to make it a little easier. Make it a little easier. So, Yogananda, be receptive to discover anything that you want to know. Back to Ernest Holmes, the infinite mind. Be receptive to it. We are surrounded by this infinite mind. Ideas are the product of the mind. And the mind is the father of these ideas. So in the reading of Ernest Holmes, in the work of how can I talk to God and connect to God, you recognize that yes, there is this soil in the garden. And this is where the idea of all the individuality, we plant the seeds, and each one of you has these seeds of perfection within you. What are those seeds of perfection? They are love, beauty, light, love, grace, all of those beautiful attributes, joy, all of them. What do you need in your life? I need love in my life. Then be love. I got love. I need joy. Joy, I've been depressed. Then call upon joy and be that. You be that. You become that. You call upon it and you be it, because it's a seed quality that God planted within you the moment you took your breath. Those seed qualities are there. And you know it, because if you went back far enough and you were a cute little baby, everybody goes, oh, I'm cute. I love that little baby, so filled with joy. Yeah, that's because you had nothing layering it. You were just this pudgy, squirmy, doing whatever you wanted. Being, this perfect being, doing what God had wanted you to do. Smile. They're saying, oh, it's just gas. No, it's not. It's God saying, show them joy. You see, it's all the older people looking at it going, oh, I perceive, I infer, I think that's gas. But the mother's going, no. It's divine love shared back, because the mother knows. So it's just an interesting game that we play. How many ways have we layered this truth? So Ernest Holmes, the soil in the garden, and we can plant a seed, and lo and behold, different plants show up, all according to the nature of the seed. So what are you planting in the soil of your being, in the soil, in the altar of your heart? Beauty? Plant beauty. Plant beauty. Behold beauty all around you. Not feeling beauty? Walk our grounds. Walk our grounds and stand in front of one of the roses until you become so one with it, until that fragrance, you can taste it, and it's in your heart, and you walk away forever changed. And I am beauty. I am that. You see, it's a seed that's planted in you. It is already there. And when you call upon it, you become that. So be receptive. If you've been in a place of angst, of anxiety, if you are listening to the news in any way and it causes your heart to tremble with fear, remember, be not afraid, but you take that news and you turn it as Reverend Michael Beckwith had said, every piece of news is a call to prayer. Okay, we don't leave it with, yipes, but we say, here too, no matter what I'm inferring or what my perception is, here too is the call for love, the call for joy, the call for peace. The call for peace or calm. So we watch for every experience that we have, and we become receptive to this peace, these attributes, and we allow them to flow through us so we become that. I am that. That is the ancient teaching from way back in the Upanishads, the scripture that came way before the verses of any part of the Bible. The Upanishads were some of the first, and they're just the words that people took from just sitting at the seat of a master. In fact, I wanted to share that with you from one of the books from Muktananda Swami Guru Mai. She says, my Lord loves a pure heart. Listen to this from the Katha Upanishad. Think about this, because we have this self, we have this seed, okay? In many ways we can describe this. Here it is in the Upanishad, way back thousands of years. A being the size of a thumb dwells in the center of the body like a flame without smoke. Within me? Yes, within you. Think about this. At the altar of my heart, I have this being in the center of my body, a flame without smoke. The being is the Lord of the past and the future. He is the same today and tomorrow. This being is truly that. And it goes on to say, realizing through meditation the primordial God who is difficult to see, deeply hidden, set in the cave of the heart, dwelling in the deep, the wise person goes beyond joy and sorrow to that greater sense of truth. Beyond joy and beyond sorrow, but I'm calling upon joy. I want to be joyful. So then we start to question and we start to get confused and we say, no, but in the middle path, the true path is staying in absolute balance. So as joy comes, we welcome and we move through the joy. When sorrow comes, we welcome the experience to stay awake and we stay right in the center. We stay in absolute balance so that we are receptive to that truth, to that one, to that call. So we watch that journey. Realizing through meditation the primordial God who is difficult to see, deeply hidden, set in the cave of the heart, dwelling in the deep, the wise person goes beyond both joy and sorrow. Here it is. The Supreme is higher than the heavens, yet it shines in the cave of the heart. Those who strive for it enter into it. And St. Augustine says, to my God, a heart of flame, to my fellow men, a heart of love, to myself, a heart of steel. Allow this understanding of the vastness of the heart to be a torch to guide you on your path. The Lord loves that pure heart. Those are words from Guru Mai. So there's wisdom every place we turn, through every scripture, asking us, what must I become? What must I do? Well, all you need to do is ask. Tell me what to do. Sit in the contemplation. Sit in those opportunities of stillness. Drop into whatever is speaking in your heart, whatever it is. Merge with that sense of self, with that flame within you. And as it fans its flame and you connect with that and you allow the glory of that truth to emerge through you, you can feel the light of your soul transformed, infused, glowing. And so when you walk out of your practice, you are alight with the soul and the flame of the one. And people will see you that day and they're going, something's different about her. And you're walking around with your halo. You're saying, yeah, I fanned that flame of that thumb thing inside of me. You fan that flame. You fan that truth. Once you ask for it, tell me what to do, and bring it on. Bring it on and start to act. Be that spiritual warrior. One of my favorite asanas or poses in yoga is to stand as the warrior. And as we stand as the warrior, one arm is extended out. And I offer people, open up your hand and ask for what you want. And then feel yourself receive that truth. And do not doubt that truth as you quietly take that truth and fold it into the altar of your heart. And let it continue to blossom inside of you and transform and act on that. So when we get truth, when we receive truth, we do feel it in our heart. There's a stirring within us. And then the mind will start to think it away. And Ernest Holmes points to this absolutely directly. And this piece made me shudder. Since this inner self is continuous connection with the outer self, you see, this inner piece of us is connected to the outer, but what we've created around it is this cloak, our shell, our cocoon, that sometimes the idea of perfection, it's a challenge to penetrate through, but it does anyway. It'll find its way. But since this inner self is a continuous connection with the outer self, it can cause a flow of intelligence, stimulating the mind and the brain to a purposefulness, to a creative genius, to an executive ability. There is something in the most practical which longs for the still, silent presence. There is something that is longing for the still, silent presence. Do you have that in your days? Are your days so compacted? You know, when I was preparing, this is what I do. I drive myself nuts. I know I have to prepare for a talk, but I'm looking outside yesterday going, oh, I just really want to fix that area around the deck because people are bidding on this dinner, and I want that to look nice by July 13th. It's very important right now for some reason because I have all this. I must go out there. Oh, but I must do what's in the front first. They'll see the front first. So I busy myself, and I'm toiling away and busying myself in the front, and then I'm thinking, the back awaits. So does this. But what I'm being receptive to, that I'm following the divine call because I'm preparing the way. No, I'm not. I'm avoiding what the call to just sit down and be still. No, got to finish that stuff first. So 10 o'clock last night. Desperate. Man, all night long, rolling, sleeping. I'm receptive to the divine, and then download all this information. I can't do that. That's not what I was going to say. Oh no, don't go there. And so I'm here. I haven't done a darn thing. So I look at this. This is why this paragraph got me so. This inner self, it's continuous in connection with the outer self, a flow of intelligence, stimulating the mind to purpose, to that creative genius. Oh, but there is something in the most practical which longs for the still, quiet presence. So I took that time this morning. I put it all away and just sit with that still, quiet presence. To let that flame inside of me reveal the truth, to make that connection to the divine. When we spend our entire time in objective things, never getting back to the higher self, oh, hello, there was me, we are piling brick upon brick sooner or later to see them fall around us in ruin. The toiler dies in the day unless the dreamer refreshes and invigorates himself with the divine influx which comes from the inner self, which never tires. Fed by the deep eternal fire. Fed by the deep eternal fire. The Upanishad said that there was that flame within me, that deep eternal fire. You see, nothing ever takes that fire and dampens it at all. It stays steady. It is smokeless. It is ever present within you. And so our spiritual duty is to continually to communicate to that aspect, that deep sense of self, that connection, to allow ourselves to be on purpose. So this intelligence, it's pouring through us. We want joy, call it in. We want love, call it in. We want health, call it in. Perfect life within me. Perfect life within me. If you called that into yourself, repeating it, then expect it. Perfect life within me. Whatever comes your way, no more fear, no more doubt, perfect life within me. It is done unto us as we believe. Yogananda reminds us he has a book called The Science of Religion. Interesting. That got my curiosity when I first started studying Ernest Holmes' philosophy, and I had already been a student of Paramahansa Yogananda's. The three instruments of knowledge are perception, inference, and intuition. And so we understand what perception is. We take it in, and it's done unto us how we see things. And then we start the practice of our knowledge becomes when we infer things. For example, if we see smoke, we infer that there's a fire somewhere. So we understand those aspects of our knowledge. But intuition is the one that we're speaking to here. And this comes from within. This is the beauty and the clarity of that still small voice within you, and it is not influenced by anything other than that one powerful intelligence that's flowing through you. Judge Troward, one of the teachers of Ernest Holmes, describes it as a persistent feeling. Our first impression of feeling on any subject is generally correct. So your first impression, watch for that these next coming days. Watch your first impression. It is the one that is right. It is the clear one. Before the objective mind has begun to argue, it is like the surface of a smooth lake which clearly reflects the light from above. But as soon as it begins to argue from outside appearances, these also throw their reflection upon that clear pond. Okay, so we had the clarity, and then we started to discuss it, to adjust it a little bit. That original image becomes blurred and no longer recognized. The first conception gets lost. My heart for yours is that still pond, when you drop into the heart to reveal the answer and the truth for your journey, for your path, for your comfort, that it is not diluted, that the waves are not forming, that you are one with that truth. Sit close to your heart. The heart can feel at times trapped by the attributes that can interfere, anger, shame, or blame, any of those things that cause us anxiety for the future. And Meister Eckhart says, a man has many skins in himself covering the depths of his heart. Why 30, 40 skins as thick and hard as the hide of an ox or a bear cover the soul? Whew. I read that and I thought, darn that heavy ox kind of feeling. That feels like, ugh. But that's how I feel if I'm not moving forward with that divine clarity. So be not afraid. Undo some of the learning from your past and learn how to be empty. Empty in that presence so that you can relate to the Supreme Self. The Bhagavad Gita is such a beautiful metaphor for how we can be on that battlefield. And he speaks with Arjuna being the self, being that part of ourself, with Krishna, with that higher self within us forever looking. So you have that companion within you. This self, this God self speaks to you. It's real. It's the intuitive, sweet, still voice forever beckoning you. My dear, ask for love and be love. That's the answer. That's the spiritual journey. So I close with this idea of St. Augustine saying, entering into the secret closet of my soul, led by thee, beheld by the mysterious eye of my soul, the light that never changes above the eye of my soul, above my intelligence. It was the common light which all embodied creatures can see, nor was it the same kind, but greater, as if the light of the day were to grow brighter and flood all space. This light was none of that, but something altogether different. He who knoweth truth knoweth the light, and who knows it for eternity, loves it for an eternity. So, what am I talking about? As I put this all down, as I put this all aside and never really have the opportunity to get to some of the powerful passages that I wanted to share with you, what I leave you with is the light of your own soul, is the trust of your own soul. How do you be more receptive to God, to the One? Ask for it. And take as much as you would like to receive. Take as much as you'd like to receive. It's not going anywhere. So join with me in that knowing. The opportunity to sit still. Each breath fans the flame of the heart. And as that light grows brighter, as the recognition, as the connection to that light, which is truer than all fear, all doubt diminishes, fades, dissolves, as the power of this light, as the truth of the one love, of the one intelligence, flows through me, in me, as each one here. We recognize the seeds of the divine are planted in the soul, and we water the seeds, and we cast the light of greater truth and understanding, so that these seeds of truth are those that blossom now and come to fruition. And all those that cross our path on this journey are blessed by our greater power and wisdom in this knowing of truth, dedicated to the love of the one. So right here and now, we put down all fear. We put away all doubt. And we open the altar of our heart, the doorway to our heart, to that vast intelligence, that when we feel small inside ourselves and say, I do not know, the one knows. And we claim that truth, and we move empowered by that truth. So thank you, God, for this opportunity to share in community the power and the truth of the one. I leave this word as truth. So be it, and so it is.